Today we're going to make a love monster, but I need to teach you a couple stitches. First thing is how to thread a needle. So this is the needle, this is the pointy end. It's blunt, it shouldn't hurt you unless you really stab yourself. But it's blunt, so it's not like a sharp needle. This end here is called the eye of the needle, and that's where you thread your needle. I'm first going to thread my needle by taking my string and putting it into this piece of paper. I call it a hot dog. So you're going to put your string in your bun and you're going to pinch it so it's nice and closed. Then you want to find your needle and you're going to put this end that you're pinching together through the eye of the needle and keep pinching as you push it through. You can grab it from the other side and then pull it the rest of the way through and give it about this 5 or 6 inches overlap, and that's all you need to do to thread a needle. Okay, if you care to, you can put a knot and another knot in the end, but that's up to you. So we're going to begin sewing, and the first thing I want to teach you is called a back stitch. And the back stitch is a stitch that helps lock the string so it doesn't come out later. So from the back side of your heart, this is the front side, the back side, you want to bring it from back to front and push your needle through to the front of the square along that point on the heart, and you're going to pull your string all the way. Okay, so you should just have a little bit of string back here. Next thing you want to do is you're going to skip a couple, maybe 5 or 6 of those little squares, and you're going to push your needle towards the back, from the front to the back, and bringing the needle all the way through and then pull it tight so you can just have, there's no gapping string, you pulled it tight. Okay, so now your thread is at the back of your square. You always have to come through that side. So from the back, because we came through the back, we have to go through the back to the front. What you're going to want to do is skip ahead a few squares and bring your needle through, so you can see how we skipped, and you're going to pull that all the way through. Now for a back stitch, it just means exactly how it sounds. You're going to go back to where you were, and you're going to put your needle from the front to the back, and you're going to pull it. So we're creating a nice line here. And again, we're using a back stitch so it really locks that stitch in. Next thing we have to do, if you can guess, is skip ahead from the back. You're going to put your needle through, and then you're going to back stitch it, come back to where you were, and you're going to create a really nice line here. So again, I'm going to skip ahead and go all the way around. You can make any shape you want. You can sew a straight line using a back stitch. You can curve. You could spell out your name. But whatever you want to do, I just want you to get some practice. So we're just making this little heart. If you have a sharp turn, it might be better to use shorter stitches. So your back stitch would be a little bit shorter, so you can make that angle curve. But again, it's up to you. So I'm going to just finish this out. And the more practice, the quicker you get at it. But it's a really good skill to learn. If you were to hem, say your pants needed hemming or something, you would want to use a back stitch, because if you just did a weave up and back, up and back, up and back, it might come out and the whole thing would fall out. But back stitch really is a great stitch because it locks the thread into place. So we're going to go all the way around. Again, making sure we pull. So you can finish that. Now I just want to show you, as you start to get low on string, you can pull it, so that'll give you more string, but you have less overlap. And back strip, I think one more stitch will do. And I'm going to go through the back. And then all I have to do if I want is to take the string off the needle, and I can just give it a tie. And there I go, and cut my string. So again, that's all for a back stitch. So there are lots of stitches you can learn to use, but this little heart that you made is going to go somewhere on your little love monster here. So we can stitch this heart onto your love monster. And for yours I hot glued, this one I stitched, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick a color. You have different colors. I think this blue looks fun. And again, using my hot dog and my string, I can put my string in my hot dog, pinch it, and thread it through the eye of my needle, like so. Again, give yourself a good little overlap here. And then what I want to do is double knot it at the end. So I make a loop. I put the thread through that loop. And again, if you have any trouble making a knot, or you want to try a different stitch, I always say just go find a tutorial online. There's lots of cross stitching, different, it would be an embroidery stitch that you'd want to find. So now I'm ready to stitch my heart that I did to my monster. You do not want to sew these two things together. So you want to pull it apart, and you want to hold your heart, your black heart shape piece to just one layer of your monster. And again, I always want to start from the back through. And what I can do is you can sew this however you want. You can do the back stitch. I'm just going to go looping around because it's just fun. So I went from the outside back through and around. From the outside, I'm going to go through to the back and then come back to the front. And just keep going around. I'm making sure I bring my stitch fairly far in so my edge doesn't fray. So you don't want to sew right on the edge. You want to come in a little bit. You can see how I'm coming in like 3 or 4 squares. Oop, that one got caught. And keep going around. And around. So the only goal of this project is to get you familiar with different stitches and to show you how to sew one thing onto another. So again, as your string runs out, you can pull this a little bit shorter, so give you a little more string. And I'm going to keep going around until I come back to my part, to the start. I think that'll do it. And then I can bring this through the back. Might be a little hard, cumbersome or hard to do, but you can just tie it off or tie it to the other string. But you'll see I'm just going to leave it long on the back because nobody's going to see that, right? Okay, so you can add a mouth. You can pick a different color, whatever you want to do. Maybe for my mouth, I want to make a circle. I could do a long rectangular one, whatever you want. You can put eyebrows on, you can put a nose, you can do whatever you want, okay? After you're completely finished embroidering just the one side of your heart, you're going to want to fill this up with the stuffing I gave you. So the white stuffing you would find in your bag that I gave you, and it's just polyester filling. You can stuff that into here, and then again, sewing along this edge, you would just seal the bottom edge. After you put all the stuffing in, just seal the bottom edge, and then you have your fun little love monster guy. Again, I'm leaving it up to you to do. You could create some crazy hair on them. Oh my gosh, there's anything you can do. But this is your project for this week and next.